welcome to the deep dive.
No.
So, have you ever been there? You're deep in the code. You're what we sometimes call a vibe coder,
Yeah.
right? Building these really functional apps.
Mm-hmm.
You're making things work, getting the logic right. But then you step back, and there's this nagging feeling that the final product, well, maybe it looks like it came out of, I don't know, 2010.
Oh, absolutely. It's a common trap.
Yeah. And let's be real. No matter how brilliant the functionality is under the hood, if the design looks sloppy,
Yeah.
it's a barrier right away.
It really is.
So today, we're diving deep into how professional design is actually way more than just looking pretty. It sends these subconscious signals, authority, trust. It invokes the feelings you want users to have.
And that subconscious part is just so critical. I mean, think about it. Users make a judgment, like a snap judgment, about your app's quality in the first few seconds.
Right. Instantly.
Yeah, and if the design looks even slightly unprofessional or dated, they just assume the product itself is unprofessional. It doesn't matter how powerful it actually is.
It's like building a supercar engine and putting it in a rusty old Lada.
Exactly. Perfect analogy. Nobody's going to even want to test drive it, right? So all that engineering effort, kind of wasted if people don't even click download or sign up.
Mm-hmm.
And what we see often with developers who are really focused on the function side is this kind of, well, I call it a double blind spot.
Okay, double blind spot. Tell me more.
Well, first, you might not really know what you don't know about good design principles. That's one blind spot.
Right.
And second, you might not know the best or maybe the most efficient ways to actually implement those principles in your code.
Ah, okay. So you don't know the what and you don't know the how?
Pretty much. So our mission today for this deep dive is basically to fix that double blind spot. We're going to give you 4 really practical, actionable tips to help you create designs that, stand out. Designs that actually convert users.
Okay, love it. Fixing the double blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump right in. Tip number 1 you mentioned is about grabbing a kind of free upgrade, right? Something that boosts personality. React bits.
Yeah, React bits.
This isn't just like another Bootstrap clone or something.
No, not at all. This is really about injecting some genuine character into your UI. Think of React bits as a curated collection of components. They're fully customizable, often animated, interactive.
Okay.
And they're just much more expressive, more creative than what you probably get if you just asked a generic AI for, say, a button.
So, like, what kind of things are we talking about?
Things like dynamic headlines that maybe animate in really silky smooth transitions between states, engaging little interactive elements, stuff that surprises the user in a good way.
Okay.
The deeper why here, the design thinking behind it, is what designers often call delightful interaction.
Delightful interaction.
Yeah.
I like that.
Those small, maybe unexpected animations or unique components, they don't just look nice. They actually build this sort of subconscious connection with the user.
How so?
Well, they make the app feel more thoughtful, maybe more alive, even kind of charming. It can also reduce cognitive load by guiding the user's attention, and it just leaves a more memorable impression.
Makes sense.
And, technically speaking, it's solid. Over 13,000 stars on GitHub, actively maintained. It's a reliable choice.
And you said it's easy to integrate. Like, how easy?
Oh, incredibly easy. That's the beauty of it. You basically just browse their collection. It's on reactbits.dev. You find something you like. Maybe it's an animated list for your features or a cool text effect for your hero section.
Yeah.
Then you copy a simple CLI command. Just a command line instruction.
Right. Paste it in the terminal.
Exactly. Paste it in your terminal, run it, and boom, it's pretty much ready to use in your project. Almost frictionless.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful, especially for those high-impact areas.
Definitely.
Mm.
Think landing pages, marketing sites, maybe key sections within your app where that first impression or reinforcing value really counts. Like for an edtech platform, maybe you use a React bit for an animated hero section to grab attention right away, or an interactive way to showcase course features. Even just eye-catching call-to-action buttons to boost signups.
Yeah, those little details can make a big difference on conversion.
They really can. The key, though, is using them strategically. You want to guide attention, create that sense of delight.
But not overdo it.
Exactly. Don't make it so busy it becomes distracting or annoying. Use them with purpose.
Okay, good point. Strategic use. So React bits handles the personality, the delightful bits. But what about the core structure, the overall aesthetic? How do we make sure that's polished without, starting from zero every single time?
Right, that's a great question. And it leads perfectly into our second approach, mastering the art of what we can call remixing professional
Of
designs.
remixing.
Yeah. So instead of staring at a blank canvas, you adapt designs that have already been professionally crafted. There are tools out there like Aura, V0, Lovable that help with this.
It's kind of like having a design team's experience, but on demand.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And Aura, for instance, is a really standout tool here. It
Oh.
focuses specifically on creating visually appealing designs, not just like functional wireframe.
And it's mobile first, you mentioned. That seems critical now.
Absolutely critical. We know mobile usage dominates in, well, 2025 and beyond. Aura gets that. Even for seemingly simple screens, like a login page, you'll see thoughtful details,
Yeah.
subtle hover effects, smooth animations, things that just feel polished.
Mm.
The core idea here is leveraging established design patterns. You're not reinventing the wheel, which is often a bad idea in UI design.
Right. Users expect certain things to work certain ways.
Precisely. You're building on foundations that have been tested, iterated on, proven through tons of user interaction. So it's not just faster. It inherently leads to a more professional, more intuitive user experience because
Yeah.
you're starting from something that already works and, resonates with users.
Okay, so you find a design on Aura or a similar tool. How do you actually remix it effectively? You can't just copy paste the whole thing, presumably.
Well, you could, but that's not the smart way. Let's say you find a login screen on Aura you really like.
Yeah.
First, you need to figure out what specifically you like about it. Is it the color palette, the layout, those little micro interactions we talked about?
Right. Identify the good parts.
Exactly. Then you provide context about your app. You might say, okay, adapt this login design for my restaurant review and booking app. Make sure the booking form feels integrated. Maybe use my brand colors here.
So you guide the adaptation, customize with purpose.
Yes, purpose is key. Adapt, customize, don't just blindly copy. And like you said, always, always test on mobile.
Mobile first, always.
Got it.
Okay, so we have personality components, we have ways to remix professional structures, but how do you actually integrate this stuff smoothly into the daily grind, without constantly jumping between a design tool and your code editor, breaking your flow?
The workflow integration challenge. That's our third tip. Really integrating design tools into your development process, not just having them side by side.
Okay, how does that work?
The solution lies in tools that can actually generate components on the fly directly within your familiar coding environment.
Inside the IDE, now you're talking.
Exactly. For developers who live in their IDEs, this is huge. A standout tool here is 21st Dev's Magic MCP.
Magic MCP, okay.
Yeah, it lets you create and tweak components right there in your code base. You sign up on 21st.dev, pick your IDE. They support Cursor, VS Code. The usual suspects follow their setup, which is pretty simple.
And then,
And then you can just start generating really nice-looking pre-baked components almost instantly.
wow. What about testing things out first?
They've got that covered, too. They offer something called Magic Chat. It's like a sandbox environment.
Okay.
You can go in there and prompt it, like create a mobile-first e-commerce interface for viewing products, maybe with horizontally scrollable product cards, and it'll spit out multiple variations for you to look at right there.
So you can play with ideas before committing them to your actual code.
Precisely. Now, look, it might not be perfect out of the box every single time. Let's be realistic.
Sure, AI isn't magic, despite the name.
Right. But it gives you an incredibly powerful starting point, something you can then refine and customize instead of building every single div and style from scratch. It's a massive time saver.
Yeah, I can see that. Huge. Okay,
Oh.
so personality with React bits, remixing structures with Aura or V0, generating components in the IDE with Magic MCP, that's a solid toolkit.
Yeah.
But where do you get the initial idea, especially if you want an AI to generate something specific? Like, where do you find that spark of inspiration?
Excellent question. That brings us to our fourth and final tip. Finding inspiration from the right sources, because not all inspiration is created equal.
Where should we be looking?
Well, a huge favorite among many professional developers and designers is Mobbin, Mobbin.
Mobbin. Got it. What is it?
It's basically this massive searchable library. It has something like over 400,000 screenshots of mobile and web apps.
Wow. 400,000.
Yeah, it's huge. And these are from real big-name enterprise-level applications. Think Spotify, Grab, Airbnb, tons of others.
And the key difference is these aren't just mock-ups.
Exactly. That's the crucial part. These are actual screenshots from live deployed apps, and it covers multiple platforms: iOS, Android, web,
So you can see what actually shipped.
Yes, you can browse by category, filter by specific UI elements like settings screens or checkout flows. You can really focus on the aesthetics, the typography they use, the spacing, the color palettes.
And you can use these. How?
You can download screenshots, analyze them, maybe use them to build a style guide for your own project or to feed into an AI tool. Like if you were building a fintech app, you could go look at how Revolut or Wise handles their clean UI, their number displays, their transaction lists. It's invaluable for understanding real-world patterns and user flows.
That sounds incredibly useful for grounding your design in reality. Okay, so Mobbin for real-world shipped apps. What else?
Then there's Dribble,
Yeah.
Dribble.
Yeah, I've heard of Dribble. Lots of pretty pictures.
It is lots of pretty pictures, but it serves a different purpose. While Mobbin is about the real-world proven stuff, Dribble is often more about creative concepts, cutting-edge design ideas, maybe more experimental things.
So less what is and more what if.
Kind of, yeah. It's great when you're looking for maybe more unique ideas, inspiration for just one specific element like an icon set or fresh color palettes. It's often where designers are pushing boundaries a bit more.
Okay, so use Mobbin for proven flows and structures. Dribble for more creative sparks. Makes sense. So let's try and tie this all together then. What does the ideal workflow look like using these tips?
Right, let's map it out. You'd probably start with research and inspiration. Go to Mobbin or Dribble.
Okay.
Find examples you like, understand why you like them.
Yeah.
Maybe use an AI tool to help create a basic style guide or an initial design based on those screenshots.
Step 1, research an initial concept.
Exactly. Then step 2 is smart component selection and creation. That's where you bring in React bits for those moments of delight, those personality-driven animations.
Right.
You'd use something like Aura or V0 for remixing the foundational stuff layouts, core components, based on professional designs.
Leverage the proven pattern.
Yes, and integrate Magic MCP for that rapid in-IDE component generation when you need something specific quickly.
Okay, build the core pieces.
Then step 3 is implementation and testing. Put it all together and test rigorously. Always, always mobile first. Check performance, make sure it's accessible.
Don't forget accessibility. Crucial.
Absolutely. And then iterate based on actual user feedback if you can get it.
And what are the big pitfalls to avoid here?
Good question. Definitely avoid overusing animations. Don't make it annoying. Don't ignore mobile, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't just copy designs without understanding why they work. And yeah, don't neglect performance or accessibility. Those aren't optional extras.
Right. Solid advice. Okay, that paints a really clear picture.
Yeah, hopefully, because tying this back to the bigger picture, design really isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's not just paint. It's a critical, fundamental component for creating products people actually want to use, and importantly, products they're willing to pay for. So just to quickly recap the core ideas, we talked about using React bits for injecting personality, mastering that art of remixing professional designs with tools like Aura or V0, integrating powerful generation tools like Magic MCP right into your coding workflow, and finding solid, reliable inspiration from sources like Mobbin and Dribble.
And the impact on the business side of things, it's not trivial, right? This goes way beyond just looking good.
Absolutely not trivial.
Professional design done well, it directly boosts your conversion rates. Why? Because users trust apps that look and feel well designed. They're more likely to sign up, more likely to buy, more likely to engage.
Makes total sense.
You'll see higher user retention too. Good design reduces friction. It makes the app more pleasant to use, so people stick around longer.
Yeah, less frustration equals happier users.
Exactly. And happier users lead to word-of-mouth marketing, which is gold. People recommend apps that feel good to use.
Free marketing, basically.
Pretty much. And interestingly, it can even give you greater pricing power. People subconsciously associate better design with higher quality, more value, so they're often willing to pay more.
That's a really key business point.
It is. So the message for you listening is pretty clear.
Right.
You don't need to drop everything and become a professional designer overnight. That's not the point.
Right.
The key is just to start prioritizing design within your development process. Treat it as seriously as you treat your back-end logic or your test coverage. The tools are out there, the resources are available, and as we've heard, they're actually more accessible than ever. You just need to take that first step.
Well said. So, maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. As you reflect on what we've discussed and think about your own projects, what aspects of your current design workflow, What will you rethink first? What will you try integrating? Now that you understand just how critical design is for user perception and, well, for business success ultimately,
Okay.
what's one small but impactful change you could make, maybe even today, to start lifting your own vibe coding designs from just functional, maybe slightly amateur, to something truly professional?